She vanished from her apartment one August morning, no goodbye, no warning, no trace. 2 weeks later, her remains were found dumped in the woods, her death unexplainable. What followed would uncover a nightmare of betrayal, surveillance, and a broken promise, a chilling true crime tale many wish they'd never hear. If you care about justice and real stories, like this video, subscribe to NoirCrime88, share it, and comment which country you're watching from. Stephanie Pavlons was 44 years old. She was a mother, a daughter. By all accounts from friends and family, she was caring, loving, someone who laughed easily, someone who believed in second chances. But beneath that gentle exterior lay a life of struggle. For years, she was in a long-term, on-again, off-again relationship with Matthew Paul. Their relationship was marked by tension, control, and alleged abuse. Despite all that, Stephanie held on. She worked in his house-flipping business. She depended on him. Had no car of her own, often left at curbs to visit her family. Times were hard, but she hoped for better days. On August 23, 2022, early in the morning, surveillance footage captured Stephanie leaving the apartment they shared, carrying a black purse with silver links and a large pink water bottle. That would be the last confirmed time anyone saw Stephanie alive. Moments later, footage showed Matthew leaving the same building. Hours passed. No messages. No calls. No sign of Stephanie. Friends and family tried reaching out. Nothing. Her phone pinged near a doctor's office in Delafield, the same area where her body would eventually be discovered. As days turned into weeks, worry turned to fear. The police opened an investigation. They reviewed surveillance footage. They checked cell phone data. And they noticed something chilling. Later that same morning, the man seen leaving, Matthew, returned carrying the same pink water bottle. Minutes later, he exited again, this time with a plastic shopping bag containing Stephanie's black purse, /. Stephanie was gone. No one heard from her again. On September 9, 2022. 17 days after she disappeared, construction workers near Gulf Road in Delafield found a decomposed body in a wooded area close to a medical facility parking lot. The body was later identified as Stephanie Pavlons. Her remains were badly decomposed, so much that the medical examiner could not determine an exact cause of death. Despite that grim uncertainty, authorities were unnerved. Because of how close the location was to where the couple lived. And because of the cell phone pings, surveillance timeline, and items found, investigators believed this was no random tragedy. Suspicion fell squarely on one man. Detectives working the case knew one thing immediately: Stephanie didn't simply walk away from her life. She didn't leave her family, her job, her medical appointments, or the friends who checked on her constantly. Something had happened, and the timing pointed to the man who knew her best. Investigators began by retracing the morning of August 23. What they found wasn't just suspicious, it was deeply unsettling. That morning, Stephanie left the apartment with her purse over her shoulder and her big pink water bottle in hand. Just minutes later, Matthew followed behind her, carrying nothing. But when he returned on camera later, he was holding that same pink bottle, the one Stephanie never went anywhere without. Even more disturbing, the next time he appeared, he was holding a plastic shopping bag. Inside it, police later confirmed, was Stephanie's purse. The same purse she had walked out with. Those images alone told a story. A story Matthew tried desperately to deny. Phones don't lie. Stephanie's phone stopped moving shortly after leaving the apartment. It pinged near the wooded area in Delafield, the very location where her body was discovered 17 days later. Matthew's phone also pinged in the same location that same morning. Though the medical examiner couldn't determine the exact cause of death due to decomposition, investigators believed the combination of surveillance footage, Matthew's movements, and his behavior afterward was enough to piece together what likely happened. When detectives questioned Matthew Paul, He claimed he didn't know where Stephanie was. He offered shifting explanations. He said she walked off. He said she left with a friend. He suggested she ran away because she was upset. But detectives already had the surveillance timeline. They had the ping data. They had the fact that Matthew never reported her missing, not once, not even after days passed. When confronted with the evidence, Matthew became defensive. He insisted police were misinterpreting things. He claimed nothing they had would be enough to prove anything. It was a cold, calculated answer. One detectives never forgot. While investigators gathered evidence, Stephanie's friends came forward with heartbreaking stories, stories of fear, manipulation, and control. Some said she had confided that Matthew would snap during arguments. Others said she felt trapped, dependent on him for transportation and financial stability. One friend described how she would stand at the curb after work, waiting for Matthew to pick her up, sometimes for hours. Another recalled Stephanie saying she planned to leave him for good once she had a place of her own. To detectives, this wasn't just a disappearance. It was a tragedy waiting to happen. While sifting through phone records, investigators found something critical. Matthew had been in the wooded area near the doctor's office parking lot for more than 10 minutes that morning. He had no reason to be there. No appointments. No errands. No job sites. To detectives, there was only one explanation. This is where Stephanie's life ended. And where Matthew tried to hide it. As detectives tightened the circle around Matthew, they knew they were building a case without a traditional cause of death. It meant every detail, every movement, every inconsistency, every second caught on camera, mattered more than ever. And then came the moment that changed everything. When detectives called Matthew back in, they didn't start with accusations. They started with silence, letting the weight of the evidence sit between them. Then they slid photos across the table. Stephanie walking out of the apartment. Matthew returning with her water bottle. Matthew returning again with her purse. The matching phone pings near the wooded area where Stephanie was found. He couldn't deny what was in front of him. But he tried. Matthew claimed he found her belongings outside. He claimed he didn't know what to do. He claimed he didn't want to get involved. Detectives knew he was stalling, buying time inside a story already collapsing. When they asked why he never reported Stephanie missing, Matthew broke eye contact for the first time. He looked down at his hands, rubbing them together nervously. "It wasn't my business," he muttered. Not his business. A woman he lived with. A woman he spent every day with. A woman who vanished without a trace. That answer sealed how little empathy he carried. When the warrant was signed and officers arrived, Matthew didn't fight. He didn't argue. He didn't ask what this was about. He simply said, "I figured this was coming." It was a chilling response, almost as if he had rehearsed it. And as he was taken into custody, detectives knew they had uncovered a truth darker than they expected. The courtroom filled early on the first morning of Matthew Paul's trial. Stephanie's family sat together in the front row, hands clasped tightly, as if holding one another upright through the weight of the moment. After weeks of searching, days of grief, and months of waiting, this was the final step toward the truth. Prosecutors laid out the timeline with chilling precision. They played the surveillance footage, clip by clip, showing Stephanie leaving the apartment with her belongings, and Matthew returning with those same items moments later. They displayed the phone data, the matching pings in the wooded Delafield area. They walked the jury through the lies Matthew told detectives, the shifting explanations, the cold indifference. Every detail formed a picture. A picture of control. A picture of opportunity. A picture of guilt. And although the medical examiner couldn't pinpoint an exact cause of death, the prosecution made one thing clear: the evidence showed Stephanie didn't leave that parking lot alive. When the jury returned, the room went silent. Matthew kept his eyes forward, expression unreadable. Guilty. The word echoed through the courtroom. Stephanie's family wept, holding on to one another with quiet strength. Outside, supporters gathered, holding photos of Stephanie, her smile frozen in time, a reminder of the light taken far too soon. Matthew was sentenced to life in prison, ensuring he would never harm anyone again. Stephanie Pavlons was more than a case. More than headlines. More than a tragedy. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend, a woman whose kindness touched everyone around her. Her story reminds us of the importance of listening, of believing, of noticing when someone is in danger and cannot speak for themselves. If Stephanie's story moved you, please like this video, share it with others, subscribe to NoirCrime88, and comment below which country you're watching from. Your support helps us keep her memory alive.